Hey folks, Craig Lavati here with the Houston Museum of Natural Science out at Brazos Bend State Park. It's one of the youngest state parks in the entire Texas state park system. We're gonna hang out with Jim and Jason, two excellent park rangers. So I guess the gators get a lot of the publicity out here, but there's other animals out here that are just as important as well.
Oh, absolutely. Like you said, the gator is a star, but we have several other mammals, that people have seen out here, such as, we have the river otter, which is really, really cool if you've ever seen one of those. We have, white-tailed deer, armadillos. You think about Texas, you think about armadillos.
So a little bit of history about this nature center itself is this building is the actual hunting lodge from the Hale family.
Okay.
They would come out here in like their weekend getaway, and this is the actual original framing, if I'm not mistaken. It's had renovations here and there, over time, but still, this is considered one of our historic buildings in the state park system.
Yeah, you don't think of having a new park, right. Hey there, guys. So everything that's going to be inside the nature center is stuff that you can actually find inside the park.
Correct, yeah. All this information is going to be a lot of what the importance of what people are going to see out there. Maybe learn a little bit about it before they actually kind of take the strides on the trails. Sometimes it's also a great way to break the ice. The alligators can be intimidating. So what better way to start with something that's about the size of your hand?
There we go.
Yeah, they start out kind of near the bottom of the food chain. If you look at the eggs, they're super small. And our population out here of alligators, when they start doing alligator surveys, we have about 250 to 300 adult alligators, and they really maintain their own population. And so this is a great place for people to learn about what's in the park, but the truly great thing about our nature center is that it's run mostly by volunteers, and they want to share their love with the people that are guests that are coming in, our visitors.
How old is this one?
This one was born in August.
Late August,
okay.
Yeah.
So probably 6-7 months old.
Okay. So, and how long will it take him to fill up this room?
They'll grow about a foot a year on average, and after about 6 feet, they're going to slow down. Lengthwise, they're going to start getting more wide. So after about that 6-year mark, we start to assume age because it's just harder to tell once they start getting wider. But during this phase, yeah, we'll be able to kind of tell easily how old one is if it's shorter than 6 feet. A little bit more soft than what you would think.
Yeah. People have been coming to this park or this area since at least 300 BC, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so this area, there's history of the Karankawa Indians that, were established out here, and just the Brazos River was a great way for people to live here and also use the river to kind of, use it as, means to get to other areas. Because when you think of the Brazos River itself, we're here by the Gulf Coast, but it goes all the way to Lubbock, if I'm not mistaken. So it's this river that goes essentially all through Texas. So it might be a little harder to tell on the camera here, but we're going down a slope.
Oh, yeah.
So tens of thousands of years ago, we're actually on a bank of where the Brazos River actually meandered. So let's just say that long ago, there's a good chance that the Brazos River was actually right here.
Oh.
So that's just the nature of rivers. They're constantly changing their shapes. So if you did a time lapse, it'd be wiggling around like a worm.
Yeah.
But now we've kind of entered the floodplain of what we currently experience now. So when the park does flood, water will probably be under here, but at the top of that hill we just got down, it'd be a dry spot.
But how high does it get?
On average, so for instance, Hurricane Harvey was about 4 to 6 feet of water in about 95% of the park.
Oh, wow.
And if we get to see a good tree, I'll point out the actual water level.
We're out here, we think in the middle of nowhere, but we're really not. Development's coming up all around us. And so when they're developing on both sides of the river, they're putting up levees. And so those used to be floodplains. And so that water is now coming to us because of all the new development. And the floodplain is no longer being there or being accessible, so all that water's coming down here, and so it's not just coming down here now, it's actually staying longer before it actually drains.
So this is a rookery, kind of like a natural bird gathering area. So in the mornings, lots of commotion going on. You can kind of see all the, it looks like to be a lot of those cattle egrets. But there's also a variety. There's like an anhinga at the top of that branch over there. So definitely a lot of the birds we have in the park are all kind of gather here at nighttime. So as the sun set, you'll see them all kind of coming back to their nests and stuff like that. It's pretty cool.
So what that kind of leads to that what we were talking about earlier about, you know, being a great place to watch some birds. This really is.
So right here we got a turtle laying some eggs.
So he heard the camera was here.
This time of year, they're on either the sides of the trails laying some eggs. Unfortunately, they also do this on the sides of the roads.
Yeah.
And so at the same time, we want people to be respectful, let them do their thing. A lot of times you're not going to even know that there was a nest there. But at the same time, there's other animals like raccoons. They know very well where the nests are.
And this is why I call Brazos Bend magical, is because you can see some things out here you probably would never have seen if you've never been out of the city. This is just amazing.
We could be on a trail looking just like this and people say, you know, where are your alligators at? You know, we're not on any schedule. They've got their own stuff to do, but a lot of times they're walking right by them and don't even see them. So, you know, we look for clues. Like you can see the trail that he kind of caused through the vegetation there. And for the most part, they look like a piece of dead wood just sitting there. So, you know, we encourage people like, you know, look for that, but also look for the pair of eyes and, you know, maybe the snout sticking out of the water. Alligator etiquette. So essentially, it's the rules to follow that are going to keep you safe from potential danger from the animal, but we also want the animal to be respected as well. So, like you can see this guy, you know, we're recommending always 30 feet away if you're not certain, but obviously we have to, you know, we want to carry on this way through the trail, but there's an alligator. We're obviously going to get closer than 30 feet. But the rule of thumb here is that, you know, you don't want to get between them and the water. If you feel, you know, comfortable going past him, get as far on the other side of the trail you can, nice and slow. Usually these alligators have no interest in us, and you can see what he's doing. He's opening his mouth right there, so anyone that doesn't know any better, like, might take that personal. So it's intimidating. You see all those teeth. That alligator's a pretty good size. I wouldn't want to mess with it, but really what he's doing, he's just regulating his body temperature.
He's yawning.
They're like a dog panting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if you remember looking at that baby alligator, but that baby alligator had yellow stripes, so it kind of blend in. Mm-hmm. Well, at this age, all those yellow stripes are already gone. Mm-hmm. So he just looks like a log. He's past his prey stage.
Right.
So he's now a predator.
Yeah, so poison ivy, that's something it's everywhere. You know, it blends really, really well, like this tree here. You would assume that these are like the leaves from this tree, but in reality, it's a vine.
That is poison ivy.
That is poison ivy.
Okay.
So you can see the 1, 2, 3, leaves a 3, leave it be, you know?
Okay.
So what we're used to seeing on the ground that's kind of how it starts out.
Okay.
So it's just kind of coming up and very, very, you know, it looks just more like kind of blends in with these little grasses and stuff like that. But give it time, it is, you know, gonna take this kind of form right here.
So don't touch that.
Do not touch it, please.
Okay. And you wouldn't even know. If there was something out here I wanted to see, I would have brushed right past that.
Yeah, and we've had people that would stand out here and, you know, they get a great photo, but they're also gonna have some itchy shins come in a day or two.
Okay.
So you can kind of see that's how we identify. It's gonna be a pit viper, just like, you know, your rattlesnake. A lot of times when it gets agitated, it's gonna do its tail wiggle. But the way we can kind of tell this is in fact a copperhead is all those little Hershey kisses going down.
Mm-hmm. So that's a baby.
It's probably a little bit older because a lot of times if they still have the yellow in the tail, you know, that could pretty good indication it's still young. But that one's pretty dark.
And now you would, once he goes in there, you would not even know that was.
It's gone now.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, folks, that's all from me out here at Brazos Bend State Park. Remember, don't litter, don't pollute. Have a great time.